Welcome to the future of payroll and workforce management insights by HR.com, your go-to resource for insights into payroll and workforce management. From navigating compliance and technology trends to exploring the latest in global payroll solutions, we're here to keep you ahead of the curve. Join us as we dive into the forces reshaping payroll and share practical strategies to optimize your workforce management. Let's get started. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this next episode of Future of Payroll and Workforce Management, a podcast by HR.com, and we are podcasting from the HR Technology Conference Expo and floor. Conference and Expo floor. That's the second time I've gotten the name of this conference wrong today, but you'd think I know where I am, or maybe I shouldn't know where I am. Who knows? We are in Vegas. Anyway, my guest today is Yutaka Takagi, Principal Product Evangelist at isolved. Welcome, Yutaka.
Hey, Brent, thanks. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we've had lots of great conversations. I think this is the third time I've had you as a guest on a podcast. Take that as a compliment. So we're going to talk about benefits. Really, really super duper exciting topic today. And you convinced me of that last night in the informal green room. I think it was a bar. But in any event, we're talking about benefits guidance, employee experience, and all that kind of stuff. But maybe you could help us out first by just share with our audience, what got you into the world of work? What gets you going every day, Yutaka?
Well, I got into this, I'll be honest, a little accidentally. I got into this space because I was good with both DOS and Windows in that time when we were transitioning from one to the other. Yeah, and green screens to pretty GUI screens. And I could take the diskette to whatever machine and install software on those. And that's how I got into this. But, what keeps me going is that connection of the pay experience, the benefits experience, to really be able to provide a great employee experience, right? And knowing that a great employee experience translates to productivity, which ultimately translates to business success. And then that business success, those outcomes can help drive better employee experiences, right? Because you get, increased productivity, better profitability, often means a bonus at the end of the year, or often means maybe a 401k match. Those kinds of things kind of feed back on itself, right? And helping organizations see that that's a possibility, helping organizations realize that possibility. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a nice, smooth segue into the topic today, by the way. But one of the things, we hear about, in football, we hear it's a game of inches, right? He's not getting that next first down. You're not getting that next touch. I mean, that's where you want to get, but you don't do it with, when's the last time you saw a Hail Mary really be like a touchdown?
Right.
Once in a while. Right. It's kind of the same with the employee experience, right? People they think about the employee experience. Okay, I got to make some grand sort of gesture as a company, or I gotta like implement some huge thing and that's going to be the thing,
right,
that's going to improve the employee experience and we'll be off to the races. Everything will be great. That's not a bad thing, but really the employee experience is a game of inches too. And it comes in the form of payroll, benefits, compensation, all sorts of stuff. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that. I know you have some findings from one of isolved's latest research studies.
Yeah, that's right. Do you want me to grab this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I think, so I love that analogy. That's the idea of the game of inches, right? Because there are so many little things that play into that employee experience. You mentioned pay, and in the past we talked about pay and financial wellness, and being able to provide something like, say, on-demand pay, or tools that help employees bridge what sometimes is that long period between the 16th and the 31st of the month, and helping them through that, right? Helping them manage that cash flow. So there's definitely those kinds of things that, again, not a huge investment, not a huge product or implementation or anything like that, but that can move the needle there. Around benefits, yeah, we do an annual Voice of Workforce study where we survey over 1,000 full-time workers here in the United States about their attitudes towards work, their attitudes towards HR, and some of these issues. And we ask them, what number one sort of HR experience that, if it was a negative experience, might lead them to look for another opportunity, another job. And 50% identified benefits enrollment as that one thing, right? So if that is to say, if benefits enrollment experience is negative, that 50% of those employees might kind of consider another opportunity, right? And so there's what that also means on the flip side is the opportunity to pay attention to that benefits enrollment experience. What can we do to make that enrollment experience simpler, better for the employee? I mean, that could really move the needle in terms of retention. Yeah.
Great points. Great points. What are some what are some examples of a poor benefits experience for an employee? I'm trying to think, there's the inefficiency of a lot of these benefits administration systems. Open enrollment can just be like just a crazy, pull my hair out kind of time for HR.
Yeah.
It could be a reason that HR folks might leave as well. What does a poor employee experience look like when it comes to benefits?
Yeah. Well, so the number one area that employees identified around the frustration with benefits enrollment is just the information of how to make the decision of which plan, which coverage level is right for them. They don't find the information either available or clear enough to understand. Right. I think there's a lot of jargon involved in benefits. Right. Again, I've been in this industry 30 years since those diskette days, and I have trouble, right, understanding some of these, like the nuances of how the deductible process works. Embedded deductible, and there's terminology in there that I'm just like, I don't know what this means. And not all platforms or enrollment experiences or benefit plan documents are good at clearly articulating what does that mean for at the end of the year or middle of the year, you have a significant procedure. And by the way, your child has a procedure. How much out of pocket am I going to be? Right. And those are like real dollars and cents that people are dealing with. And so, how do we make that information clearer to understand? I think, again, tying back to some of the previous conversations we had around payroll and the financial information, like salary is relatively clear that we pay, 26 times a year versus 24 times a year, relatively clear. But those benefits of, oh, well, I got, I was riding a bike and, injured myself. And then, by the way, the next week, my child who, plays, football or whatever gets injured. Like those things, like you're not always thinking about, well, if that happens, well, how much out of pocket is that going to mean?
Yeah.
Right. And can I absorb that before, say, the benefits kick in? And when the benefits do kick in, is that 20% copay? Right. Or like all those things. Right. There's just nuances to that are really difficult to understand.
And I want to talk about benefits guidance and what that exactly means, because it can mean all sorts of things. But, it's not just about the efficiency of the benefits of the open enrollment process. It's about, the providers that you as an employer, the royal you as an employer, work with, right? Do you have good providers? You have, not so good providers. I was going to use another word. Sorry. I forgot it was a podcast at a G-rated conference. Yeah. But in any event, what is a good benefits experience, and what does benefits guidance mean? Like, I'm thinking there must be some AI involved. Walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you leading me right to that, to the punchline here, because yes, so benefits guidance is about providing an experience to the employee, to the person who's going through the enrollment experience, to provide them with the right prompts and information. That's going to involve at first a bit of a survey, right? Ask them about how do they use their benefits today. Perhaps even provide their credentials to check in with their carrier, their benefits insurer, to look at the evidence of insurability or evidence of benefits plans, right? The explanation of benefits is the word I'm looking for. Those explanation of benefits to see, how did you use benefits last year? All right. What prescriptions does your family use, et cetera? And then to really understand, okay, well, you went to the doctor 3 times, but you had an ER visit as well. and you take these prescriptions, etc., to then say, okay, given that sort of profile, here's what we think with the best benefit for you, with benefit option for you from a health plan perspective, from a dental plan perspective. And so it really, like, AI certainly understands the plan structures and what those what the vagaries of the plans might be that you have on offer. And then compare that to the employee's profile and how they use health insurance, or how they plan to use. Maybe they know that they have a procedure that's coming up next year. How can we plan for that, and then make sure that they are not just enrolled in benefits, but enrolled in the right benefit that's going to give them the coverage level that's going to give them that peace of mind.
Absolutely. Because benefits can be difficult to figure out, to understand for employees, and smart employees too. Maybe they just don't have the time to go through it. They just want to just give me the most essential information so I can make an informed decision. And I think about when I look at my phone bill. Well, I sound like Gen X. My cellular phone bill, my data plan bill,
Yeah.
can I name brand name? Verizon, my Verizon bill.
Mhm.
Okay. And I don't understand it at all, and they probably want it that way. It's good for them, not for me, not to be able to understand my own bill. Maybe I knew I wanted to understand my bill because I don't know, but pretend that you don't understand your bill too, please, just so I feel better. But the whole point is that when your employees, you want them to understand that stuff.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite. It's the same with pay, with anything in that. You want it to be readily available to them to understand in the employee self-service portal and all this kind of stuff. Otherwise, you're flirting with disaster. And one of the things that you made me think of is, there's all sorts of early warning signs, or like there could be an early warning system for a grave sort of existential threat to the employee experience, and thus to your retention for you as an employer, by keeping an eye on this kind of stuff, like taking an inventory of what you do for your employees. Are your benefits difficult to understand? Do you have good partners for that, or don't you? You can be ready way ahead of time.
Exactly. I mean, I think one of the things that I've seen, many organizations do, certainly the employers I've worked for and clients that I've worked with, they might do surveys after open enrollment, or new hire surveys, and ask, well, how did you like your enrollment experience, right? And they collect this information, and maybe some people have some frustration or difficulty making their decisions. And so I think, benefits professionals, they take that input in, and they offer additional webinars. Maybe they have videos, explainers. They have more plan documents, sort of other resources that their plan providers might provide. We're just, this is just another layer to that, right? To say, because if you're getting that feedback that the enrollment experience was difficult for your employees, that's your early warning system, Brent, right? That's the early warning system that says, hey, a negative enrollment experience is seen as a red flag for employees, and it is something that could drive them to look for other opportunities.
Absolutely, that proverbial canary in the coal mine, helping that employer understand what their employee sentiment is, and to be able to influence that proactively before it becomes a problem. Yutaka, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast here at HR Technology Conference. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thanks, Brent.
Thanks for tuning in to the Future of Workforce Management and Payroll Insights by HR.com. We hope today's episode brought you valuable insights and fresh perspectives on the future of payroll and workforce management. Be sure to check out more episodes and explore resources at HR.com/podcast, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep innovating and making a difference in the world of payroll and workforce management.